Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I'm tonight's host, Laura Blackwell. My co-host, Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour over a year ago so people could just read stories to each other when we can't see each other. In fact, Daniel likes stories so much, he wrote another entire book of them that came out recently. Daniel, can you show us your book? Because I think this is neat. See? Bright Moments with Others by Daniel Marcus. So I believe you've read a few from that Story Hour in the past, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. My copy is scheduled for tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. So welcome back to those of you returning, and welcome to those joining us for the first time. As always, we have two writers reading for their favorite nonprofits. Tonight's readers are Gemma Files and Suzan Palumbo. If you are fortunate enough to help others during this time, please consider a donation to one or both of tonight's featured nonprofits, which are the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network and the Indian Residential School Society. Gemma Files is reading for the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. ASAN believes that the goal of autism advocacy should be a world in which autistic people enjoy equal rights, equal access, and equal opportunities. ASAN works to empower autistic people across the world to take control of their own lives and the future of their community, and to seek to organize the community to ensure that the autistic voices are heard in the national conversation about autism. ASAN says nothing about us without us. You can learn more at autisticadvocacy.org. Suzan Palumbo is reading for the Indian Residential Schools Survival Society. IRSSS has a wealth of experience delivering wellness and healing services to Indian residential school survivors and intergenerational survivors throughout British Columbia. IRSSS provides essential services to residential school survivors, their families, and to those dealing with intergenerational traumas. These impacts affect every family and every community across British Columbia and all of Canada. I would have to say the US could use some help here as well. You can learn more at www.irSSS.ca. If you're here on Zoom, feel free to leave your camera on. It can be nice for our readers to see actual humans. Feel free to chime in on the text chat if you like. If you are joining us on Facebook, thank you, but please understand that we may not see your messages in real time. And our first reader tonight is Gemma Files. This is pretty exciting to me because I've actually taken classes from Gemma.
Thank you very much, Laura. And this is exciting.
Can I read your bio
as well? Absolutely, feel free.
Excellent. Now, I believe you may have had some more publications since I last updated this, so please jump in if we need to update that. Formerly a film critic, journalist, screenwriter, and teacher, Gemma Files has been an award-winning horror author since 1999. She has published, I think now it's 5 collections of short work?
Basically, yeah.
5 collections of short work, 3 collections of speculative poetry, a weird Western trilogy, a story cycle, and a standalone novel, experimental film, which won the 2015 Shirley Jackson Award for Best Novel and the 2016 Sunburst Award for Best Adult Novel. Her newest short story collection, In This Endlessness, Our End, came out from Grimscribe Press in February 2021. Ooh, that's a pretty cover.
Yeah, it is.
Gemma, welcome.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, yes, I have some stuff upcoming in various anthologies and collections, but probably the most interesting and impending thing is that I have another collection coming out in next year from Trepidatio. It's called Dark is Better.
Nice.
Yeah. So I decided that I would do Come Closer, which is fairly short, which is good. A path opens in the trees before you, and you have to tread it. You have to. It's not a decision. It comes from somewhere else, outside of you. It's not the sort of call that can be ignored. That's what we tell ourselves anyways, sometimes when we're about to make a mistake or when we're already halfway through making one. The first time you take its picture, the house is on another street entirely, around the corner, up towards the underpass. By June, it's on your street. By October, it's next door. You're keeping a dream diary the day you notice the house, just like Dr. Batmasian told you to, back when you still thought your insomnia was fixable. The morning you dream you're in, that morning you dream you're in what you feel absolutely sure is your home, but in hindsight is a completely different apartment. A compilation of other people's, maybe larger and with spaces you've never used because they don't exist. It's the sort of dream where you think you're awake and start going through the motions of an ordinary day, taking dishes out of the dishwasher in this case, except every time you're done, you go to shut it and suddenly find it full again with a different set of dishes every time. And all the while you're thinking, this is wrong, this isn't right, this has happened before, over and over. At which point, another version of you entirely walks in, dressed in what you only now recognize as your father's clothes. I think I'm dreaming, you tell her, and she simply nods, replying, yeah, you probably are, so you should do something that would really hurt in real life, and if it doesn't, you'll know you're asleep. Which sounds logical. So you step back a bit, sigh, tuck your hair behind your ears, and slam your head face down onto the granite countertop. And since you do indeed barely feel it, you just go ahead and keep doing it again and again until you wake up at last. Kick your way to the surface between various peeled back layers of sleep, up through untold fathoms, out into the real world once more until you come back in your own bed, your own condo, exhausted and sticky and alone. Annoyingly mundane, but as recurring dreams go, it certainly beats the one where you're desperately trying to kill someone with a sharp object, stabbing them till your hands are sore while they just stand there laughing at you. Not to mention giving you reason enough to at least get you upright, dressed and clean, and through the door so you can make it to work on time for once, and thus leave comparatively early, i.e. at the time you normally would if you ever bothered to get there when your contract specifies you should in the first place. Spend all day copying and filing on demand, handing out mail, making coffee. It's a glorified intern's job, if this place could actually afford to pay interns, or anybody actually ever took unpaid internships anymore. You got it by virtue of having a degree in library sciences, hoping one day it'll get you the job you really want. But if the day is a grind, there's always the evening, twilight in the distillery district, magic hour, everything touched with cool blue and gold, making even the most degraded objects pop like they're Pixar painted. And then right there on your way over to the weekly meetup with Joe and Anjit, there's the house. Take a look, you say maybe 10 minutes later, popping your phone down on the restaurant table between them. Either of you ever remember seeing this place before? Nope, Joe says without even looking. But Anjit narrows her eyes. Is this one of those post-war bungalows, she asks. You shrug. Might be, I guess. I don't know much about architecture. Looks old enough to be, though. Anjit agrees, peering closer. Where is this? Just around the corner from my place, like halfway up the block, almost to the China Lily soy sauce factory. Oh, God, yes, that place is so gross. Like right near that little bridge, the underpass. That's the one. Weird how I never really saw it before, though. Must have walked past it a million times, right? Maybe it just never registered how there was an actual house under all that other crap. The other crap in question is however many years worth of overgrowth, life after people style, ivy everywhere, weeds to the waist, a drooping chestnut tree that probably hasn't been cut back since Dutch elm disease blew through Toronto. The house is a classic one-story with a later addition slapped on top, a box on top of a box. The second floor only slightly smaller. There's one of those eye-shaped windows at the front, half blinded by leaves. Whole place is in obvious disrepair, if not quite ruin. Windows dark with dust and cracked to boot. Paint peeling leprous. Artificial, not natural. And yet, the house looks like it grew up out of the ground, like roots. It looks immutable. Maybe it's all the green. You tap the phone screen asking, okay, improv time, bitches. Who you think lives there just off the top of your head? Joe snorts, still not looking. Nobody, Lynn, Jesus, not for a long damn time. A passing waitress. Serial killers for sure. Anjit studies it a moment, then glances back up, grinning. Witches, she suggests, then whoops as you high-five her, signaling the waitress as she swings back around. One more for my friend, you yell, finally getting Joe's attention, at least momentarily. I'll have whatever they're having and make it a double. he tells her, before going back to editing his grinder picks cue. That night, you dream you find a tiny box, no longer than your finger, no wider. But when you open it up, it turns out to be a window. And when you put your eye to it, you see an entire landscape, some gray on gray moor under a stormy overhanging sky, moonless, pelting rain, strange grasses occupied by dark motion, hidden eyes, the wet bones of long dead things. And an overwhelming fear comes washing up over you. The sudden dread that you might somehow slip through, end up stranded in that bleak field under that same lowering thunderhead, trapped in another world entirely, unable to glimpse the way back into your peaceful room, your familiar bed, except through that tiny lidded rectangle, always and forever from then on at the mercy of any stranger who might decide to slam the lid shut over your only way back out. A week passes, or maybe a couple. You can't help seeing the house out of the corner of your eye as you go by, even when you're not looking for it, which is how, slowly, you start to notice that it isn't in the same place anymore. That house is moving, you tell Anjit eventually, after your usual weekly hookup. The two of you are lying in bed, sharing a joint. Joe's in the shower, sponging away sex traces and singing loudly along with Marvin Gaye, but the place between you, where he most often lies, is still warm, still slightly depressed. The Vine House, you remember. She inhales, holds the smoke in her lungs a moment, then blows out a little plume of it, miniature dragon style. The one on your phone, she says, black eyes cast up and shining, watching the last of her taupe dissipate into darkness. Yes, well, that's... What do you mean by that, Lynn, exactly? That it's not where it used to be when I took the picture? It's somewhere else now. Another part of the city? No, still on that block, just closer to the corner, I guess. A lot closer, like it's about to turn onto my street or something. Anjit turns on her side, frowning. That really doesn't seem possible, though, does it? You shrug, not really able to disagree. Took some more pictures if you want to see, you offer, reaching for your phone. And by the time Joe comes back out, humming, you and Anjit are sitting cross-legged together, poring over the evidence, swiping back and forth to run it forwards or back, the world's slowest little movie. The hell are you doing? He demands, then snorts when you try to tell him, scoffing, oh, Jesus, that thing again? You need to get yourself some Netflix. Anjit shakes her head, hair flipping. What I don't get, she says to you, is what happens to the house right next to it when it does move. I mean, look at this, here and here. House, the house. And then in this next one, it's where the second house was. You finish, nodding. But there's nothing behind it, nothing new. That other house, where it used to be, hasn't been pushed on like beads on a string or switched around. It's just gone, supplanted. Yet here in this next one, the previous house is back, but on the other side, switched from left to right. And now it's the house that used to be in front of our mystery bungalow, the previous right-hand house that's gone. Joe stands there naked, arms crossed in annoyance, yet swinging free. You catch sidelong sight of him and snicker, which probably isn't the effect he was looking to have on you. Well, that's impossible, obviously. But either way, who cares? Lynn, Anjit tells him, eyebrow hiking, equally obviously, and why the hell not? Joe strikes a pose, makes himself jolt, abruptly tumescent, like he's pointing at her, hands free. Because it's rude to turn down a Greek bearing gifts, he suggests theatrically, and watches her dissolve and giggles. He does have a point, you concede, which just makes her laugh all the harder. A week later, you round the corner onto your street, only to find the house waiting for you. So when does it move? Anjit asks a few days later, when you show her the latest snaps. I don't know, you reply, resisting the urge to shiver automatically, while at the same time swiping through with your eyes kept peeled for one's pretty enough to maybe fix up in post. When I'm asleep, maybe. And you don't see it doing it, obviously. Never. It creeps. Same as Ivy. Apt. A beat. So what happens to the other houses, you think, while they're gone? I mean, do they look any different when they come back? You frown, considering this. Kind of, yeah, you say at last. When the houses reappear, they seem more decrepit, drained, reduced, empty. Like everyone just left in the middle of the night and somehow you just didn't notice until now. And meanwhile, the Vine house itself seems bigger every time, as if it's absorbed part of the house it replaced. A cornice or a floor or a room. It seems more inhabited. Inhabited how? Oh, I don't know. It just, like sometimes I'm walking by, coming home late at night, and there's music inside. Weird music. Weird music plus weird lights. You pause again. I mean, no surprise there, because everything about that damn place is weird inside and out. Now it's Anjit's turn to frown. Thought you said you hadn't ever been inside. Oh, I haven't. It just strikes me that way. Anjit nods, but this is ridiculous, Joe breaks in, finally impatiently dismissive, as if neither of you ever had that same exact thought. You're both stuck on this damn thing, Lynn, and it's eating up your brains. We need to what, Joe? What do we need to do about it exactly? It comes out snappish, perhaps more than you originally intended to, since it definitely seems to slap him across the face a bit, as from across the room, Anjit raises her eyebrows, takes him aback, if only for a second. Still rotating bedroom-centric polyamorous circuit show he co-stars in aside, Joe's never exactly been the kind of guy to take that sort of thing lying down. Okay then, he says at last. Not we so much, me. I'll do something. Again, like what? Watch and see. Which is how the three of you end up back on the street at roughly 3 a.m., approaching the house in question sidelong like a sleeping dog of uncertain provenance, as if you somewhat expect it to wake up and come for you, teeth bared and barking. The vines seem fresher, full of bright new growth. The path to the house slopes gently downwards through a garden of weeds, dusty, unscuffed, blank. There's a black-barked tree almost at the bottom, its groin bulging with tumorous roots, next to a gate without a fence that stands there alone and ridiculous, a concrete metaphor, just a post and a latch on one side plus a post and hinges on the other, pewter-colored, decorously locked against intruders. Joe snorts and steps around it, while you and Anjit hover uncomfortable on the other side. You coming up or what? He demands. No thanks, Anjit shoots back coolly. Honor is all yours. You think about agreeing, but don't. There's something about this place, the sudden nearness of it, that dries your mouth out. You swallow instead, hearing your throat click. Weird music, weird lights, figures moving behind shades. Your own words come back to you, tone ironic like a stranger's. None of the above tonight, though. Just the window's black, cracked gaze, eyeing you sidelong. Just that disapproving mouth of a door, pursed shut. Joe stomps up the path, leaving visible prints. Hey, he calls. Yo, serial killers, witches, nobody. Anybody home? You hiss, abruptly mortified, voice a strangled stage whisper. Jesus, Joe, keep it down for Christ's sake. It's the middle of the fucking night. Middle of the night, downtown Toronto, where everybody's perfectly free to call the neighborhood watch anytime, not that I notice it happening. Well, you wouldn't, would you? Anjit points out helpfully. Not until the cops got here. Oh, I'm setting my watch. He's up the path's top now, almost to the Vine house's grayly sagging bottom step, its water-stained middle rucked like lichen. Just 2 more steps and he'll be up onto the tiny porch, barely more than a veranda-topped portico. No knocker, but there's a doorbell's button-topped plastic rectangle half hidden underneath the empty patch where the mailbox used to hang. Its outlines faint sketched in dirt, now all but indistinguishable from the rest of the house's gangrenous paint job, or its encrusting foliage, the leaves shifting shadows. Don't you dare ring that, you warn him. And Joe gives a 5-year-old's grin, hand already in mid-reach with the pointer finger extended like he's looking to get caught. But before he can make contact, something rings out from deep inside, not a chime so much as a tone, a drone, a breath. An exhalation. Joe hears it and perks up. Anjit hears it and blanches. You hear it and think of what? Something distant, something cold, plucking at the very edges of familiarity, a hoarse wind blown from far off, rattling across the window frames, making them moan. A glass harmonica touched after midnight, its waters murky, singing with disease. There are instruments made of human bone, you've heard, in places like Tibet. They play them in temples to frighten away evil spirits. But this doesn't sound like that, not exactly. This sounds more like something you play to welcome them, to call them closer. And now there's shadows, too, set against the light, making the drawn shades flicker the same way a dreaming man's pupils do behind shut lids. See, Joe announces to no one in particular, normal-ass people, exactly where you expect to find them, inside, listening to music, watching TV or something. Like normal. Doesn't sound much like music to me, Anjit murmurs from behind you, to which you probably agree if that exact moment didn't happen to be right when the front door suddenly snaps open. Afterward, Joe claims he couldn't see anything, just that the door simply flung itself wide too fast and briefly for any additional details to register, then slammed in his face. But both you and Anjit know that can't possibly be true because you saw it, both of you. Because Anjit described it unprompted, using exactly the same words you would have, long before it ever occurred to you to ask her to, because she did it haltingly, between gasps, described the door's inner edge, worn and seemingly tooth-worried, gray as a dead man's wound, described the tiny slice of lintel thus exposed, the bare, unpainted post, with its worm track hieroglyphics, its flayed and peeling lip of general decay. And that thin, thin hand reaching forth to stroke itself down the side of Joe's face, quick and gentle, barely resolved, an almost subliminal image, aside from the simultaneous suggestion of far too much bone cut with far too few fingers. All this followed by Joe stumbling back, sitting down with a thud on the curbside, as if he couldn't physically go any further, sitting there shivering, Joe's skeptical eyes rolling helpless as spooked horses, thrown back again and again towards the house, only to skitter away like a flinch, helplessly tethered, his hands both fisted, drumming on his thighs, face sweat slick and pale, like he'd have given $1 million to get up and walk away if he'd had it, let alone been capable. What happened, you demand, as he stares back and away. Nothing, he claims, lies angrily, before literally biting his lip hard enough to bruise. But, oh, Joe, that's so much crap, Anjit interjects, equally pissed before you can. Who was in there? You must have seen. No one. Nothing. Joe trails off. I don't want to talk about it, okay? Ever. Wasted enough of my time on this shit as it is. God damn it. I mean, fuck. And without giving either of you time for further words, he rolls to his feet, power walks away, still muttering curses under his breath. You can't get him on the phone the next day, which isn't surprising, not at first. But you can't reach him the next day either, nor the next after that. Not any. Not you and not Anjit either. Not at his home, at work, on any of his phones. Not at all. Then again, it is August, vacation season. Maybe he just went to Cabo. Maybe. Come away with me, Lynn, Anjit keeps suggesting as the house creeps closer. Up north, just until it passes by. My cousin has a house outside of Bracebridge, right on the river. And eventually you give way, mainly to make her happy, or so you tell yourself. Because what the hell do you have to be afraid of? Anyhow, after all, you live in a damn condo. The river is beautiful, though. Quiet. The pine trees whisper. There's just something about being near water, watching it ripple, rise and fall, current bearing everything steadily away forever. When you step out of the Uber with Anjit at your side, you study the street up and down as she settles with the driver, afraid of what you'll find. But the house is nowhere to be seen. Not up, not down, not left, not right. You make her walk around the block with you, exploring the side streets, further and further like you're mapping the area. You don't think you've ever paid this much attention to where you lived before, barring that time somebody got shot down the block. It's gone entirely. No trace left behind. Such a relief. Like a headache you've had for years is finally over. The Vine house is gone. Anjit and you order in, have a nice dinner together, after which you see her off with a kiss and go to bed early, alone but not lonely, having already taken a long lavender-scented bath, washed and oiled your hair, then wrapped it securely enough so that it won't stain your pillows, just like your mama taught you to. You're so deliciously tired. By the time the whole routine is done, you almost have to remind yourself to turn out the light. You fall asleep humming. You either don't dream or don't think you do, falling from dark to dark, but you do wake up eventually, still alone, on the floor, someplace so dark you can barely tell if your eyes are open, a place you've never been and never wanted to be, elsewhere, elsewhen, other with a capital O. You already know where, though. You can tell without looking, without having to. You can tell it by the smell. Lie there in the dark, planks stretching your back, making your hips displace and your pelvis feel like it's cracking open, aching in every cold bone at once. Lie there with your skin crawling and your muscles bunching, a feverish chill, making your stomach bunch and your cheeks burn. Lie there sick and scared, horrified far beyond your own capacity to fully feel it, with nothing but the same four words running around through your brain, emphasis shifting each to each before looping back around forever again and again and again and again. This isn't my house. This isn't my house. This isn't my house. This isn't. And then right then, that's when the very worst thing of all happens. You realize you can hear your friends calling to you, desperate, the both of them here in this awful house as well. Anjit's screams appear to come filtering vaguely down somewhere to your right, probably up from the second floor. Joe's seem to echo closer, yet simultaneously further away, thrumming through the wall nearby, the very floor you're sprawled on. You can feel them inside you, knotting around your heart, tugging hard. I did this, you think, knowing there's no way in hell you possibly could have. No way, Jesus, that's fucking insane. That's crazy. And yet, I did this to you, me. You can't stop yourself from thinking, just by noticing, by making you notice. Oh God, I did this to all of us. You're up then, knees popping, almost falling, lunge forward, grabbing for the wall, the door, find it, or what you think might be it. A knob in your hand. You twist it, yank, it opens. You propel yourself through it into the space beyond, choke out, Joe? And hear your throat creak with it, a strangled whisper, running to whimper like you've been throat punched. God, everything just hurts in here for no reason. It's so cold. And someone stumbles into you. Hands clawing at your arms, burying her face in your neck. You know that perfume, those sobs, it's Anjit. Where the hell is Joe, you ask her. Feel her shake her head, skull grinding painfully against your collarbone. I don't know, she weeps back. I thought he was here next door. I thought he was with you. That's what it sounded like anyhow. Which is when Joe starts screaming again, of course, from above or below, you'll never be able to tell, as if he can hear you too, as if he recognizes your voices, as if he's being torn apart with someone's bare fucking hands, piece by goddamn piece. Help me, you guys have to help me, Christ! I've been here so long, oh Jesus, please. You join hands, knit fingers till your knuckles crack. Anjit dragging you headlong in her wake from room to room as she howls Joe's name back at him, barely pausing for breath. Oh my God, Joe, just hold on. We're here. But you already know you'll never find him, either of you. Just all these other people, more and more through every new door, catching and clawing at you like you're their only possible means of escape, their last shred of hope. Some of them are young and some old, but all in pain, the same terrible pain you feel, born incalculably longer, long enough for them to be uniformly insane, caught inside a shriek, their lungs raw from constant screaming, these mad moon-blind bastards, pleading for something you can never give. How long have they been here, for God's sake? God even implies. Almost none of them seem to speak English, but it's the last who finally calls out in Hindi. Startling Anjit into answering, he gives a shout and rushes you, rips you apart, drags her backwards by her hair, screaming, Len! And you go after her. Of course you do. But the next room's smaller, and the next, and the next. Smaller and more silent. You're getting further, not closer. You can't hear her anymore, or Joe. You can't hear anything but your own heart, banging at your ribs like a crazed bird caged in bone. Feel its claws, its beak. That's your fear made flesh. It's going to eat you alive from inside out. You turn, or try to, fight your way from a room into a corridor, a nook, a cranny. Open the last knob onto what seems like barely a closet, then pivot to find the door has nothing inside it at all. There is no door, no frame or hinges, barely a seam. The plaster simply sealed over behind you, around you, like a fold of scar, like a cocoon. There in the dark and cold, held rigid, unable to move an inch, your skin gone sub-zero so bad it almost doesn't hurt anymore, like all the nerves are dying all at once. That's when it takes hold of you at last. The house's true occupant hugs you close, breathes into your mouth with gentle, loving ease, as if it's trying to infect you, as if it wants nothing more in the whole wide world than to keep you alive, just as long as it possibly can. So glad you came, it tells you then, smiling, its teeth against your lips, tongue printing yours. So very, very glad. A path. And this is where it ends. A mistake, unfixable, made without even knowing you did.
Is everyone else feeling little shivers?
Well, thank you.
That's wonderful. And that's in your latest collection, right?
Yes, yeah. That is the story that somebody told me made him have a panic attack. So I guess I probably should have warned people about that beforehand. But I'm really happy to get the chance to read that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we always take a breath between the stories, let one story soak in, and get ready to breathe in the next one.
Sounds great.
It's not always quite so big a sigh. But we have another horror story coming up. This is from Suzan Palumbo. Originally from Trinidad and Tobago, Suzan Palumbo is a writer, editor, ESL teacher, the Ignite Awards finalist liaison, and a member of the Hugo-nominated Fiacon team and HWA. She is also a former associate editor of the illustrious Shimmer magazine. Her Trinidadian folklore retelling The Bride will be out in October 2021 in Nathan Hemlock's Unfettered Hexes, Queer Tales of Insatiable Darkness. Previously, her work has been in The Deadlands, Dark Magazine, Pseudopod, Weird Horror, Fireside Fiction Quarterly, and various other venues. When she isn't writing, she can be found sketching, listening to New Wave, or wandering her local forests. Suzan, welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. How are you?
I am so thrilled to be reading.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm excited too. That was a fabulous story that we just heard. Yeah, like, wow.
I'm really looking forward to yours.
Oh, okay. Well, fingers crossed. I guess, should I start?
Just go ahead and tell us the
Sorry.
title, and if you want me to drop the link, I can do that as well.
Sure. Okay, this is Of Claw and Bone. It came out in May, in the dark. It's a bit of a personal story. I'll just, content warning before, it's about domestic violence. So there are some scenes depicting domestic violence. And I guess with that, I'll start. Okay. Of Claw and Bone. Your mother begins collecting the tiny skulls as soon as the flutter of your limbs causes her heart to skip. She curates each specimen, ensuring it originates from a disparate source. A mouse carcass picked from a ravine trail, a desiccated red squirrel shipped from her sister out east, a marmot snared in a field 3 hours from the village. Some mothers hang bird skeletons from nursery walls. Yours, like the women in her family before her, has chosen rodents. She doesn't believe they will make you skittish or timid. though she herself is of a nervous disposition. Rodents are quick-witted, cautious, and stockpile food for hard times, qualities she believes a girl must have if she is to survive. She boils away their residual flesh, lacquers their heads, then hand drills small holes into their bases and strings them to a mobile above your cradle with strips of supple leather. Eyes welled by dark circles, she watches you sleep that first night while your father joins the men at the pub for a pint. She caresses your velvet pate under the slow spin of the talisman she has wrought. Your own skull is still in pieces, kept flexible to withstand the compression of the birth canal. There is no guarantee what kind of women you will fuse into. She only knows that bones hold magic. Within months, you are reaching towards the mobile, babbling your own word for each preserved piece. Your mother detaches the skulls and files down their teeth so you can touch them. Slip your fingers into their ocular sockets and trace their jaws. She teaches you their names, sagittal crest, maxilla, interspersing them in between nursery rhymes along with your numbers and colors. Their traits leak into you. You are a cautious baby, prone to freezing or crawling behind a chair. Your separation anxiety flares when she steps out of your line of vision. A mama's girl, your neighbors coo at you. She loves her daddy most, your mother says, keenly aware of the bulging artery in your father's neck. When you are old enough, she sends you to the village school with the squirrel skull tucked in your pocket. Her limp smile at goodbye twists your stomach. You want to play with the other children. You also want to clutch the vole skull strung about her neck and shield it. At 4, you are heavy with the burden that you cannot do both. In school, you stroke the squirrel skull, soothing yourself. The wolverine's head mounted on your father's door shadows you even when you are away from home. Wolverines prey on voles. You make a promise that first day. You will follow all of the teacher's rules. You will be the perfect squirrel to make things easier for your mother, so your father won't notice you both. That's how you'll protect her. Most young women begin trying out new bones at 13. You ask at 12. You are weary of watching the bruises fade from plum to yellow on your mother's body. Your father has never laid a finger on you. Instead, he has used your mother's face and limbs as a ledger, battering both of your transgressions into her flesh before locking himself in his den. You've tried to protect her, but nothing's worked. She has no voice, no weight. You both could compress your bodies until you vanished, and your father would still find fault. You hate him for the guilt he soaked into your marrow. You hate him for making you hate your mother. You're most terrified of becoming her. We're not the same. You repeat until the words are sharp-edged and your tongue is sore. You want bones that reflect the person you wish you saw in the mirror, striking and confident, not the curled-in, awkward creature that haunts your room. With your father's permission, your mother takes you to a bone shop with its dark wood and glass cases. The other girls your age opt for flirtatious adornments, files, fox teeth, skull pendants on silver chains around their necks. Their parents wave off the provocative choices as a phase, just some innocent fun. Your mother nudges you towards the sensible options. How about a horse for your room? Horses are beautiful and strong. Here's a bracelet made from a mane. What she doesn't say is that horses are dependable, tame. You shake your head. No horses for you. You watch her eyes linger over the cases with the muskrat, then push your way over to the wildcats. You sense her heart rate rise behind you. Zal, I don't think your father... You didn't even look at them. Your anger boils over, rapid and scalding. I don't have to. I know how they'll influence you. She's using the same tentative tone she uses with him. It's as if she's picking her way across an open field trying to stay hidden from a hawk. It makes you sick. You march out of the store. At home, you stomp to your bedroom, grab the squirrel skull you've had your entire life, and smash it at her feet. It cracks in 3 pieces. You slam your bedroom door and listen to her scraping up the mess before your father comes home. She's scurrying like the scared vole she'll always be. The next day, she takes you to the bone shop. She's wearing a high-collared blouse in the oppressive summer heat. You try not to imagine what blooms under her neckline. You buy a leopard skull and a necklace of its claws, and are surprised when your father offers to fasten the skull to the front of your bedroom door. He looks unexpectedly proud as he pats you on the head. "I never could respect a squirrel," he says with a smile. You slip the circlet of claws around your neck and hope its feral magic bleeds into you. Your father has never permitted your mother to walk into town alone, and in the time since you've worn the leopard claws around your neck, going with her to market has become your weekly ritual. Your gait is now a sinuous contrast to her quick step through the cobblestone streets. You trail her, watching as she dispenses the coins your father has allotted for the week's food from a pocket sewn inside her dress. She is deliberate, exact. You both know how she will repay him for any shortfall in her accounting. There has been a steep cost to your budding confidence. Aggressive is the word townspeople use to describe you when they think you're out of earshot. At school, the hungry bullies you attracted as a squirrel have fallen away under the new intensity in your gaze. This barely concealed ferocity in your eyes has lost you the early childhood friends you had. They're terrified of you now. The newer girls you wanted to get to know freeze and huddle close when you stalk past. You wanted to keep yourself safe, not drive people away. You didn't know choosing your own path would leave you so alone. Today, at the market, your mother remains trembling in front of the cheesemonger's foxbone stall. Her arm is outstretched, her empty palm faced up. She looks like a beggar. A slurry of rage and shame burns up your throat when the cheesemonger ignores her. The unbidden growl that vibrates in your sinuses is bitter. It compels everyone in the stall's vicinity to stare at you. Your mother touches your wrist, steadying you. "You've shorted us 2 doublets," she squeaks. Red-faced, the cheesemonger drops the change into her hand. She places the money in her pocket, turns on her heel, and leads you out of the market. You find her perched on her bed the next afternoon. She shifts so you can sit next to her when you linger at her door. There's an unfamiliar box on her lap. Its corners are blunt with age. Inside, shrouded under membrane-thin sheaves of tissue, are the remains of a shattered skull you've never seen before. "What was it?" you ask, picking up a tiny mandible between your thumb and forefinger and holding it up to the sunlight near the window. "A weasel," she smiles to herself. "I didn't want to be like my mother either." A shadow presses the corners of her mouth. "I was good with numbers, too good, according to your father." Did he? The memory of you smashing the squirrel's head calcifies the rest of the sentence in your throat. She takes the mandible from you and squeezes it in her fist. "Not everyone can be a hunter," she says. Her gaze is far away, as if she's trying to remember a time before she was herself. Then she relaxes and reburies the bones in the layers of tissue. The tiny jaw has bitten a deep impression into the flesh of her palm that doesn't fade for days. That night, you dream a man you love breaks your left arm. You're numb with so much rage that you pull the bloody piece of your humerus that has punctured your skin out of your flesh and hit him with it until he begs you to stop. You wake up with the taste of blood in your mouth. Shaking, you squeeze your left arm to check if it's still there. In the morning, before breakfast, you kiss the leopard skull hanging from your door and march downstairs. You are 18 when your ability to remain silent snaps. Your father is pummeling your mother downstairs. Her wailing ignites you. You run out to the back shed, grab a shovel, and slam it on the floor when you come back inside. He's standing over her, a fistful of hair pulled taut in his hands. He lets go when he sees you. Don't touch her. Your voice is gruff, as if you've been screaming your entire life. He puts his hands up in the air. This doesn't concern you, Zell. You narrow your eyes at him, cat-like. It's always concerned me. His face hardens. He looks down at your mother. Is this what you've been doing, turning her against me, you trash rat? You look past him at her on the floor. She's a tangle of bruises and tears. You walk over to his study, lift the shovel above your head, and bash it into the Wolverine's skull. The cracking of metal against bone breaks an ossified wall inside you, and you lose sense of time and the limitation of your body. You swing the shovel over and over until you are drenched in sweat and the skull is in pieces in front of his door. Get out, you tell him, gasping for breath. His eyes are wide, sizing you up. No one's challenged him before. Your grip on the shovel tightens as you stare him down. He shakes his head, steps around you, and barges into his study. There's banging on the other side of the door. You don't know whether he's packing or destroying the room. Your mother is still on the floor. You drop to your knees next to her and let the shovel fall. You remain still until she wipes her face and looks at you. Her mouth is swollen. A purple bruise is deepening at the outer corner of her left eye. Your jaw goes slack when you look at her chest. The weasel skull glued together glints like an ivory bead on a piece of rawhide just above her breasts. She leans towards you and touches your claws, the fearless strand she never wanted you to buy. Your father comes out of his den with a bag under his arm and slams the front door behind him without a word. Panic floods your mother's eyes. You reach for the fractured skull hanging from her neck and wrap your fingers around the tiny head. You stay that way, holding on to each other, until it's dark and you are both sure he's never coming back. The end.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. That's great coming from you.
Wow.
That story is
Seriously, amazing.
just unbelievable. I have to thank you for a phenomenal stories. I don't think I've ever had different instances of closing my eyes to hear the words and then just hiding my face from the story, which are both really high compliments.
Seriously.
I'll take it.
Daniel,
It was so fun.
it was such an interesting progression too, because the stories were so menacing. But we started with going from freedom into a prison, and the next story went in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had the reading order we did. I think that was really cool.
Really lovely work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I would totally do this again.
Me too.
Both of you come back.
Oh, sure, of course.
Together or separately.
Pick a date, let us know. Come on back.
Okay, no problem.
Definitely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
It is truly our pleasure. A few housekeeping things. I can let you all know that you can keep up to date about upcoming authors at storyhour2020.com. And you can see programs you may have missed or watch this one another few times on the Story Hour page on Facebook. Next week, Daniel, we're doing something different. I think it might be the first time we've had 3 writers together. It's going to be what we're calling the Chamber of Lauras, because Laura Perlman and Laura Davey and I have been wanting to do this for a while.
Outstanding.
So that'll be very different, I think. But Gemma, Susan, thank you both so much. It's really been
If I know any other Lauras, can I invite them? And
You know what?
Again, thank you.
Bring them in. Thank you. And everyone who's here, everyone who's watching later, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of Story Hour. Good night.
good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye. Good night.